Hello. I'm deciding which tech I like the best. When I first started with my camera light, I used this phone, and it was so much better. The camera is better than the one I just bought as a Moto. But briefly, I cannot stand the current situation that I find that's going on in my life, and I did not cause it. I'm being targeted by someone who targeted my family when we lived in North Carolina. And this man came to me as a Mason, and he was doing a lot of things that did not make sense. And when I followed the path of rationale or rationality to what was really happening, this is based upon a retaliation scheme as well as a scheme to take or to cover up the fact that intellectual property had been stolen from me. I have had several inventions that I thought of, but I never had the capital to invest in myself. Nor did I ever had collateral. And so I wrote down the invention for the cloud. Previous to that, in 2003, I came up with the ideal for something called an iLock, based upon familiarity with data and storage. Prior to that, just jumping around 1991, I came up with a configuration for the dial-up for a modem that had never been used when I was stationed in White Sands Missile Range, and I wanted to go back and show um, my ability to use technology in a project management environment because I was never on engineering projects. So I was going to go after not international, information technology projects, and I was going to show up my resume. So in 2016, I began to go back into my memory about what I was able to do. And first, that started out as looking at the internal supply chain because I worked in supply for people who use organic or direct support and general support levels of support in the Army. And what I found out was that someone got livid about that, based upon the fact that my computer had been hacked, and I found out I've been hacked, you know, for a very long time, before hacking even was a thing. And these people, they kind of tell me that I actually figured out based upon how my computer was working in 1991 in New Mexico that I said something about hacking, or the computer was going slow, and I started defragmenting the hard drive, which many people did not know, and I used function keys to do it. And basically, so based upon what I'm hearing about things that I used, I was not able to compare that to other people. And so, what that suggests, based upon what I heard from these people, from the source that's coming back from me, from these people who use technology to eavesdrop, as well as other forms of something they call clairvoyance, or they call it psychic abilities, and even schizophrenia can be used as eavesdropping, which is a federal offense. And I tried to get the configuration patent. I called the U.S. Patents Office in 1991 15 times, and I called them and I went through my chain of command, and I basically wanted the secretary to document what was going on from the USPTO's office, and all that information was kept from me. What I'm finding out, and basically, long story short, this has happened to me uh, based upon other ideals that I came up with, um, maybe before I joined the Army. And I talked to my brother about that, and I told him at least 15 things. And then since September, that list got longer. And the more I began to tell myself, I began to hear that people have been hacking and eavesdropping. Like, for instance, the pneumatic tire pressure gauge with pump. um, that was manufactured in 2013 was my ideal was actually put on market or out to market in 8 months. And I was never able to catch up. Stop. Come on, please. I was never able to catch up because I never had the collateral, nor have I ever had a steady job. And, not to get too much in detail with it because I'll break it down again. The person that let me know he's has been doing it, or the people, was a team of people at an interview for the Navy. I was looking to get a job with them either as an acquisition specialist or supply chain or something in March 2014, and they asked me, have I come up with a patent yet? As if they knew what was going on with me, and they didn't say much. And then they asked me, did I have a relationship with a previous employer or someone in my team that would purposely, I guess, maybe they inferred, but purposely cause problems for me. And I told them yes. And then I think they asked me, what did I do in that situation? I told them I went to human resources. And so this person that we're talking about is Richard Ellis's right hand goon. Her name is Mallory Arias. Um, and what they did was they came up with a scheme within the last 8 to 9 years, and they used people who know me, and these people also, use the three forms of eavesdropping that I'm trying to get the Department of Justice to stop them from doing. And based upon that, Richard Ellis gives Mallory, aka Pamela Toll, is how I know her, uh, just about any way or any shape or form to cause problems for me. And what I found out from these people is that they use a form of evil that they actually started using in 1970, from what I'm hearing, maybe longer than that. And that was done on their staff when they were located in South Philadelphia as a defense supply center. And I'm finding that they use mind control as well to cause people to act strange. And Richard Ellis said to me, or gave me a dream, or someone gave me a dream, that he molested my mom. And from there, the story developed that he, when my mom was a child, caused my mom to be like a latchkey kid that was targeted when she was little. And I'm finding that my mom opened the door and let a man in that was being manipulated and extorted by Richard Ellis. And Ellis says that this man was my grandfather, Robert Verrain, whom I never met, but I know that's the grandfather my mom has. And so um, he extorted him and told him he should better or have a incestuous relationship with my mom to keep himself alive because Ellis threatened to kill him. And so after that, both of my parents, or from what I'm hearing, both of my parents, which I did see Richard Ellis in my dad's home when he invited me to dinner when I was 8 years old. And Richard Ellis said he got mad because I caught him getting ready to have sex with my dad. My dad left the kitchen for maybe about an hour, and I was looking for him. And I went to his bedroom, and something happened, but the man was in the house, and I saw him, and I guess I thought something like, I hope, like, they're being decent, or, I hope that they don't think I'm being nosy, so they, would treat me poorly based upon what I saw. And so both parents allege that there is sexual relationships between the two. My mom can go back to 15 before she married my dad, and Ella says that he was involved with her, off and on, and even after my mom's pregnancy, when she was pregnant with me. And one of several of Richard Ellis's girlfriend, Jane Addams Martin, was jealous about that, and as a result, Jane also raped me when I was a girl. Um, she did that using demonic practices, and then after that, my mom was given information to react a certain way when these two ladies came to the house, and they were told to trust them by my mom's adopted mother. And so to go back, um, my mom was given up for adoption, and so the people who adopted her, yeah, I guess they were okay. I don't know, um, but my grandmother had to go to work, which there's no harm, no foul about that. But basically, my mom was home alone and she was defenseless, and there was a lot going on. But my grandmother probably knew people who knew a lot about contracting or public contracting in the town we lived in, and so I guess my mom was giving the advice to always trust people in contracting. And so as a result, I'm finding as of late as Friday that the two ladies that I worked for in 2000, from between 2010 and 2011, molested me when I was 5 years old. And they performed sex acts on me when I was a child. And then they pulled a gun on my mom and told her to never tell. And so, based upon that, after I became a woman, they followed me into the army. And my mom said that I had been raped several times when I was on active duty, and they knocked me out, and they drugged me, and they caused me to sleep very hard. And I do remember several times that I was not covered up in my room, and I woke up like twice, and I was under the covers, and I knew that I slept on top of my covers without covering myself up. They also tell me that they came into my room and they used mind control on me, and they made me perform certain things when I was asleep. I was also told that um, Harry Windsor hit me and told me that I would never want anything for myself, and that everything that I have, he will be taking from me. Um, he was told as a child to do that by Frank Papalozzi, who pretended to be his father from a previous life. And so they were telling this man or this child that he was somebody else in a previous life, and that he had the authority to come after me because I was his wife in a previous lifetime, and that he's only known me. And they used that as a subculture, almost like, um, again, another form of information that they actually determined to be accurate for them. But they gave him this information, and they told him to, attack me. And in tow with him, he was using Meghan Markle to target me as well. And so that was, the story goes back and forth that they've been doing that to me when I was just a soldier in the army. I'm also finding out that James Radcliffe, who uses demonic practices for them, who is very harsh, who uses holistic practices to basically dismantle the body. He also used the International Space Station to take certain things or elements out of the body, and they do it to cause the person's body to call something to form something called neoplasia, um, which turns the muscles into a different matter. And I really don't know exactly what they are, but it's almost like the density changes in the muscles. They've also, done so many different things. So basically, this man Radcliffe would knock me comatose and put me into a coma, and I did not or would not remember things that happened. And so throughout the last year and a half, almost 2 years, he shows me how he can actually um, regress the day where when I looked at the clock, it was maybe 6 a.m., but it was dark. And then he would cause the day to get longer, and when I got up, it was 6 a.m. again. But at several times, he made 8 to 12 hours lapse. Um, and so, or he knows how to do it, or know people who can do it. And what I'm also thinking about is, and I'm hearing it, they're telling me that I spent more time in New Mexico uh, than I can recall, but I don't remember missing dates. Um, One period they said that I was missing a week, which is, maybe something that uh, makes sense. A week makes sense because what I left dates and notes of what I was doing in my supply function of what I was doing, and would pick up the next day uh, as a chronology. Excuse me. Um, they're saying I missed a week, and during that week I had been raped. And so all this was going on while they were actually assessing or accessing information that I learned in supply school. Let me close the window. And, I mean, I guess the other part, I'll talk about the other part later, but basically, this man, Richard Ellis, he spearheaded a lot of different things. And I think I did mention that when I went on a job interview, the Navy asked me certain things. But the Navy had been behind a lot of schemes to steal things from me. They're telling me that they've eavesdropped, they've sold information to England using ships called the Nimitz. They also use the long-range satellite Aegis, which is a Navy program, the LSAT's Army program. Um, they demonstrated to me that they can shift matter using technology to make you go from one, like if you're traveling, then make you go into a different direction, which was actually, I was changed over 10 times when I tried to warn Washington what was going on in my little town where I live to keep espionage out of Clifton Heights, whatever. I guess I'm giving you that. So you can look me up anyway. Um, Keep espionage out of my town, which for me it seemed to be dangerous because I was going through this alone. And this was all based upon um, the theft of an ideal. I think I mentioned it. I'm going to have to just be a little bit more, concise. But I wrote down an invention for the cloud, and that was stolen in 2011. Um, and so, based upon that, I found that Pamela Tall said she wanted to kill me. She has also had, caused aneurysms to happen in my brain when I was in the hospital, as well as sent so many different elements to my body to cause me to bleed internally, which could not be found based upon x ray. But I think I'll talk to the medical community to see if there's a way to fix that, to make sure that never happens, or that at least a person knows that they're hemorrhaging, that can be found. And most times doctors don't find when a person is hemorrhaging from the inside, only if the person uh, the orifices from the body is expressing that and it's coming out of the body. But I mean, to my knowledge, it is hard to find. And I told Richard, as of his conversation with Harry Windsor and Meghan, he said, continue to make her life miserable. And I asked him why. There's really no need. Um, he does not return my calls. He thinks that it's okay to extort and assault and use demonic practices upon African American people. I was an acquisition specialist for the Defense Logistics Agency, like I said, for about 2 years. He said he did this to other African Americans. There's a name that comes up, but no one comes to my assistance. They hear me. They don't challenge him and they don't tell him to stop. Um, that's a form of malfeasance. These are civil servants in the civil, in the civil service who get paid by an appropriation, who violate the Hatch Act. Harry Windsor and Meghan used to also work at the agency that I used to work for. They worked there for almost 15 years. And after I worked there for only 2 years and went to school to basically put food on the table, as well as get a diagnosis for a curvature problem in my back that was caused by a car accident, which I could not get a litigation process or due process uh, correctly handled. And then, they're telling me, 28, 29 years later that accident was on purpose. Uh, and, all these things, I don't, um, none of these people do not come to me. They don't come to me physically, but they use this technology. And the International Space Station allows them to use Spectrum wireless to cast um, a voice, or like when you cast a voice, it means you throw a voice from a distance, and the radius can be as far as 3,000 miles using satellite. But the International Space Station plays a part in that. And so he said, continue to make my life difficult. Meghan Markle has been using uh, I don't even know what to call it. It's not. It's like diseases, like a form of germicide, to attack me since 1999. They sent her to me. Pamela Toll is the one who has trained her to be a fucking hot mess, and Pamela Toll, sent her to me to do these things, and I just been trying to put the elements or the things of my life back together, and I'm trying to do that by approaching these people. I've called Richard Ellis and Pamela Tall as of July of 2020 and asked to sit down to talk about the problems with the cloud. If I don't have the IP and they have it, what is the reason for being intimidated? And the other reason or element of the intimidation comes from the fact that when I worked there, they wanted to treat me like a sex slave. Um, and basically, I kind of fleshed them out about that. I was doing things like my husband and I had a very open conversation, and these people monitor your conversations when you begin to apply for a civil service job, and so they listen to what your conversations are, and they do it through televisions and through cell phones at first. This is how this first initiated, or if I acknowledge that, because there's mics in a cell phone, and it was on the news. I mean, so long ago that those mics pick up voices. That gravitated to text to speech or thought to speech, as reported by David Muir in, I think it was say 2015, that your thoughts can be picked up by computers or and the wireless. So it's just the wireless itself that picks up your thoughts, which I did not know how to keep that information in my home or keep it safe. And so based upon all this eavesdropping and stuff, I started to flesh them out based on certain topics, to see who could I trust or who I basically align with, and how they can trust me. um, and as a result, very lesbian like, or we'll say, withdrawing of certain information, or just a very harsh and hostile environment start to happen. And what I determined after I saw all this and after I wrote, my document, is uh, that these people did not support me. I filed a complaint or a grievance because they did not promote me. I think I'm about to end now. If this ends, I'm going to start another part. But basically, they did not promote me, which was against Veterans Readjustment Acts of 1994. They were going to pass me over when I was just as well qualified as anybody else. Not no more, no less. I did have some transitional issues. There were a lot of problems. Not a lot, but little problems like grammar. Things like that. Just grammar. That was the only problem that I needed to fix. So, and just being comfortable on the job because I'd been going through so much stress. And I filed that complaint. So that's the other element of intimidation. So there was two. I was a veteran, and then I had an invention, and then it came after me in 2017, which is like 6 years. This has been going on since, actively since the physical intimidation and the mental, and the burning, and all the things they've done to me has been going on since 2017, when I confronted the issue, asking my mom questions to check her resolve. She lied, and she knowingly stated